So, how do narcissists feel when you just flat out ignore them? When you just stop contacting them? Now, this is not going no contact, right? This could be going no contact, but a lot of times you can't go no contact. You have kids together, you live together, things of that nature. What happens when you live with them and you're ignoring them, or you work with them and you're ignoring them? When the possibility exists and you ignore them, how do they feel? What happens? What goes on inside that noggin, that narcissistic noggin? That's what we're talking about today, y'all. Of course, if you're new here, I'm Lee Hammock. I'm a diagnosed narcissist myself, and welcome to another episode of the Narcissist Code. Let's get it. Y'all, the podcast is coming. The Mental Healness Podcast is coming to you. It's kind of like Christmas. Santa Claus is coming for you, right? Instead of Santa Claus, is the Mental Healness Podcast. My first interview is dropping with Miss Natalie. It is coming ASAP. But yeah, y'all, how do narcissists feel when you just cut the contact, when you stop giving them responses, when you just flat out ignore them? What goes on inside of that mind? Well, one thing that goes on inside of the mind of a narcissist when you ignore them is, it's not funny. It's funny when I think about it, but it's just pure rage. And I'm sure a lot of y'all have experienced this rage. When you ignore a narcissist, they rage. And they might not right now. Not all of them will yell and scream at you. When I say rage, I think I need to be very clear. Not all of them will yell and scream at you. It's covert narcissists don't yell and scream a lot of times, right? They get passive aggressive. They give you the silent treatment. If you ignore me, I'm going to ignore you. That's the covert narcissist. Now, an overt malignant one might yell at you. They might scream at you. They might put their hands on you. You see what I'm saying? They might call you every name in the book, call you everything but a child of God, right? They might say they might insulting you left, right, back, forward. Look, left, right, up, down, back, forward, slip, slide, crisscross, all of that stuff. They might go with it that way right there. You see what I'm saying? That's the mentality. Like, so some of them will become very violent and rage out on you and yell and scream at you when you're ignoring them, especially if you still have to be in contact with them. Now, a lot of times, some people consider no contact and ignoring somebody the same person, the same thing, like not responding to them. It can be the same in certain situations, but most times it's not. Like, if I'm no contact with you, there is no contact. You can't contact me. You're blocked. You see what I'm saying? You're blocked. There is no way you can contact me unless you create fake numbers or fake pages or whatever. No response or ignoring is you can still message me. You can still text me, and I'm just not responding to it. I'm ignoring it. I'm not reading it. I'm not opening it. It's just, it's pretty much going into like the back files. Nobody's going to see this. You might as well save your energy by sending it because no one is going to see it. That goes right there. You see what I'm saying? That's the mentality in that situation right there. Nobody's going to see it, so you might as well not send it. That's how a lot of narcissists' minds work, right? Narcissists would rather you ignore and be no response than for you to be no contact, because no contact typically equates to no access. If I can't contact you, I can't have any access to you. You see what I'm saying? That's where that goes. That's where that comes into play right there at. But I'll also say this. Like, when you're dealing with somebody who's like this, when you start to ignore them, you have to be careful, because the rage can get violent, y'all. But when you ignore them, sometimes they will leave you alone. Sometimes they will actually get the hint. Notice I said sometimes, right? Because not all the time is this going to happen that way. Sometimes they will get the hint. Other times they will not. Right. Other times they will not get the hint. They will not care. They don't. You see what I'm saying? Other times they will not get the hint. They will not care. They don't care. If you ignore them, sometimes they will leave you alone. Sometimes they will go away because they get the hint and their egos kick in. Like, the narcissistic ego activates and just like, hell no, you ain't responding to me? Hell no. I'm not wasting my time, effort, or my energy on you. That's a rarity right there, though. Could that happen? Yeah. But that's going to be the rarity. That's going to be the exception, not the rule, most times. So sometimes if you ignore them, they will just match your energy and start to ignore you. That's the simplest way of putting it right there, right? Sometimes when you ignore them, they will start to ignore you. They will get the hint and leave you be. Again, that's sometimes. That's not all the time. So that's what you have to understand and prepare for too. Sometimes, not all the times. Now, on the other side of things, sometimes when you ignore them, they will increase the contact. You ignore me? Hell no. You don't get to ignore me. Who the hell do you think you are? You don't get to ignore me. Hell no. Like, the more you ignore me, the more I'm going to message you. The more I'm going to try to exhaust you. Because so many times you get narcissistic people that in these circumstances right here, the more you ignore me, the more I'm going to try to exhaust you. Like you don't get to tell me what to do, because you ignore me is you setting the rules. You ignore me is you setting the standards. You ignore me is you taking control. And hell no, do I want you to have control? Hell no, I don't want you to have control. Why would I want you having control over anything that I'm doing? You know what I mean? Why would I want you having control over anything that I'm saying, anything that I'm doing, anything like that? Right? That's why it goes on. Like, so no, you ignore me, I'm going to exhaust you. I'm going to try to wear you down. I'm going to try to ambush everything. You ignore me and we don't live together, I'm popping up at your house. If you ignore me, there's no boundary that you can set. There's no boundary that you can set that I'm going to abide by. I wasn't abiding by the boundaries in the first place, which is probably how we got here, right? But like I said, I was going to abide by the boundaries in the first place, but now I'm really not going to abide by them. You want to set a boundary? Hell no. You don't get to set boundaries here. No boundaries set on me. So when you ignore a narcissist, like, yeah, some of them will lose their minds and start contacting you more, trying to wear you down. Or you ignore me. Or you're not gonna talk to me. Hell no, you don't get this. You don't get to decide when to stop contacting me. I decide all of that. Blah blah blah. Boo boo boo. BBB. That's the how it's gonna go right there. You know what I mean? So you have to prepare for that too. That's preparation. Preparation is key when you're dealing with a highly toxic, highly narcissistic person. Preparation is key. You know what I mean? You have to be prepared for it, y'all. If you're not prepared, buckle your safety belts. You're going on a bumpy ride. The bumpiest ride, so to speak. But I will say this as well, y'all. Sometimes when you ignore a narcissist, let me put my narcissist hat on, y'all. Somebody said they're gonna make me a narcissist hat and send it to me. Well, I got a message to me. I forgot to send an email back. But I'll put my narcissist hat on right here, y'all. If I put my narcissist hat on and go into my narcissistic subconscious, what do I see here when I'm being ignored? Like, if you ignore me, I feel defeated. I feel worthless. I don't feel like enough. Like, you're making me question my own validity. You're making me question my own value. You're hitting my ego. You're criticizing me. You're rejecting me. I feel all of these negative emotions that are attached, right? There's very little positivity going on right now. Like, all of it is negative. Most of it, I can't think of anything positive coming right now. Most of it is negative. Like, I'm thinking you got somebody else. I'm thinking that you have moved on. I'm thinking I'm not good enough. I'm thinking that I could have done better. I'm thinking that you're doing better. I'm thinking you're going to move on and be happier than I could ever make you. And that's making me feel bad about myself even more. Nothing is good. Like, the story that I'm telling myself right now is absolutely detrimental to everything I have going on. Absolutely detrimental to any type of victories, any type of winning that I'm trying to achieve. The story that I'm telling myself right now is heartbreaking inside of me. You're ignoring me. Like, I'm questioning, do I need to apologize? Have I done anything? What did I do wrong? How can I fix this? Right. But also at the same time, I'm thinking about what did I do wrong and how can I fix this? I'm like, well, what did you do wrong to make me do that wrong? Like, you're not innocent here. Like, I'm in my mind, you're not innocent here at all. Like, you've done something to me as well, which is why I started treating you this certain type of way. I wouldn't treat you bad for no reason. That's not who I am. Right. So you ignore me is kind of pointless, because you ignore me is you running away from accountability as well. Because what about what you did? I know I've done some wrong things, but what about what you've done? You're not innocent here. You're not an angel. You've done some bad things. I've forgiven you. I haven't ignored you. Or even when I did ignore you, I eventually spoke to you again. So I do have hope that you will speak to me again, because I spoke to you before after I ignored you, after I gave you the silent treatment. I spoke to you before. So I'm assuming you offer me the same courtesy, right? Man. Yeah, when I put my narcissist hat on, sometimes I go into that subconscious mind. It's not dark, right? But it's like a lot going on in my mind right there when I'm going into like the way the narcissist mind works. Like, it's deep, it's dark. It's like, it's insecurity. Like, when you're ignoring me, you're making me feel like the most insecure person in the world. Like, I'm more insecure than I've ever been before in my life because you decided to ignore me. You make me feel very tiny, and I don't like this. I need to find a way to feel big again. I need to find a way to to redo myself. I need to find a way to recapture my glory or to get my validation elsewhere. Right. That's why when you break no contact, I just did a video very recently on this. When you break no contact, narcissists feel validated. Because they're searching for that validation. And the more you ignore me, the less validation I am getting. But crazy thing is, like, I just thought about this. If you ignore me, if I'm super delusional, if I'm a super delusional narcissist, I convince myself that you're ignoring me because you're avoiding accountability. I just thought about that. I convince myself the fact that you're ignoring me means that you're avoiding accountability for something that you have done. And I know that sounds crazy. I convince myself that you are the one that's avoiding accountability. You are the one that's done some wrong stuff and you're trying to hide from it. Doesn't that sound crazy as hell right there, y'all? Doesn't that sound ignorant? But again, that's how the mind of a lot of narcissists work right there. We are working in that instance right there. We're working in that mentality right there because that's the way it goes. I promise you that's the way it goes, right? We are trying to find ways to validate ourselves. So we are convincing ourselves that you're avoiding accountability by ignoring me. You're running away from your responsibilities because that's why you're ignoring me. I know it sounds stupid, but that just popped in my head. The narcissist, I gotta get the narcissist hat away from me. Anyways, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you turn on your notifications so you don't miss any episodes of my longer podcast that is launching here pretty soon, y'all. The Mental Healness Podcast, where I interview so many people from so many different avenues, so many different walks of life, all things mental health, y'all. Not just narcissism, all things mental health. I still do my one-on-ones over Zoom. I still have my courses in my support group. If you're looking for some extra support, go to courses.mentalhealness.net and join my support group. I promise you, we do weekly Zoom calls. You gather, make friends, you make different connections, you get health, you get healing, you get all kinds of stuff, y'all. Hit that subscribe button, y'all, and I'm out. Peace.